My video for November the 14th, 2019 is video number 3274. The title is The Jealous God is an Ego Out of Balance. This is something that haunts me because I missed it most of my life. What would a being with unlimited powers and gifts have to be jealous about? Of course, I cannot blame anyone for this. Blame is useless. We must take personal responsibility. Yes, we do have that ability, even though we rarely use it. Instead, we get sucked into the scam of the fake, insecure God that should never be capitalized. That being, whatever name we choose to call it, is nefarious, very evil. It is, unfortunately, the God of this present world we call Earth. It rules by deception. All of our egos have been attacked, which is why the world is out of balance. I still struggle, though some say I should rest and stop resisting. For me, that is virtually impossible. The saying that rings in my mind is the opposite of the cliché. What we fail to resist persists. How can we attain balance in a world where that seems almost totally lacking? I just finished watching an interesting video, and let's see if I can pull that up here. It's actually called Time of the Sixth Sun, and episode 7 is the one I just finished listening to, how to access episode 7, Messages from the Heart. And I did provide the link to this on my Facebook page for those of you that may want to watch it. Now, bear in mind that each new video is only good for 24 hours, and then you can't watch it anymore. I missed 1 and 2. I don't agree with everything everybody says in these. Some of them are just standard New Age teaching, which I have had a lot of problems with trying to accept some of the things that the New Age teachers teach. And yet, many of the things that are said here are, to me, very wise things, and all of it is something to consider. I don't claim to have all the answers yet, but I'm talking in this video, which I wrote the blurb a good while ago. I wasn't planning on recording this until I got back from my meeting tonight, but I decided to record it quickly before I go to that meeting. Anyway, this whole thing of a jealous God, how could I, who have always thought I was intelligent, how could I have missed that this God, why is this God insecure? Why is this God jealous and visits the iniquities of the fathers unto the children of the 3rd and 4th generation? And actually, many generations have been engulfed in the deception of a jealous God, of a God that pits people against each other and chooses one person and rejects the other. That is not a loving thing for a God to do, for a creator to do. How could I have missed that? But I did. So I'm not throwing stones at those that are still pushing the concept that the Bible is somehow an infallible and inspired word. Does it contain inspired messages? Absolutely. So does the Quran. So does the Bhagavad Gita. So do many, many writings, including Shakespeare and other things, as I said in other videos. Lots of things are filled with inspiration. Lots of things are provided that might lead us, if we focus on that for a time, to lead us outside of the box of deception and outside the box of control. The thing that they want to control, of course, is our minds. Because if they can control the way we see things, the things we see are going to be a controlled reality. That seems obvious to me when I say it, and yet it's so difficult to get beyond the programming that has enslaved humanity for such a long time. I want so much to see uh, the principles of truth, the principles of love, the principles of sharing and caring. I'd like to see these things restored because they are in us, they're in all of us. But we get so blinded by the trappings around us, and so few of us take time to actually go within. Instead, we watch the TV and allow more brainwashing in. And we, even the internet can be guilty of doing that. Well, the internet, though, contains some truth. I guess TV does too, a little bit. Not everything is controlled. There's still elements of truth, but you've got to seek to find them. They're not obvious. The obvious things are the programming that is run by what we call the elite, but they are the most insecure of all beings because they have been defrauding everything on this planet, every human anyway on this planet, for such a long time. It's been a system of brainwashing and manipulation and control of people by getting us to focus out there to the exclusion of what's in here. Now, I don't believe that we should only focus on one or the other, like I keep saying. We have to do the inner work and the outer work. But the outer work comes from recognizing that something is not harmonious inside of us. And that disharmony that we sense inside of us is because something is amiss. Something has been distorted. If we were in harmony, there would be peace on earth. But obviously, peace is not the goal of those dark forces that want to control through fear. That can't we see that? It is so obvious. It is so obvious and to more and more people, I think it's becoming obvious. And yet the controllers seem to want to tighten the grips and close things down rather than open things up. What are they afraid of? Well, they're obviously afraid, just like the fake God, afraid of people knowing the truth. Because if we knew the truth, we would be free. But the truth is that we've been lied to. That's part of the truth. We've been lied to. And we have to see that. If we don't see that, how can we remedy the situation? How can it ever be remedied if we're in denial all the time? If we're turning our heads from the problem and saying, oh, I can only focus on the good stuff. Well, that's the bad stuff. Focusing only on the good stuff. That's part of the problem. That's the brainwashing. That's the technique used by the enslavers to keep humanity enslaved. What's it going to take to wake us up? The jealous God is an ego out of balance. There's nothing wrong with you and I having a personal identity. That's ego too. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. The goal is not the erasure of ego, it's the balancing of the ego so that you have the masculine and feminine aspects, if you will, the dark and the light aspects blending with each other and harmonizing rather than conflicting. These are things that I have seen for a long time, and I'm still trying to reconcile it in my life and in the world around me and get humanity to finally manage to get on the same page and get the help that we need to turn on the codons that have been shut down and turned off and open our eyes and our minds and our hearts to greater understanding, greater wisdom, and the ability to love one another and to start fixing the problems that have plagued us for eons. Thank you, folks, for listening, and namaste.